Hey guys, happy Friday. I hope you guys had a wonderful week. I'm Rybka from Stress Busters. This week's topic is about unresolved emotions, and I know in the chat Stephanie shared a great strategy. Dawn commented, Jamie commented, and I really appreciate that interaction throughout the week because I always post on Monday or Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, the topic that we're going to discuss, and I want to get us to become a community of people that help each other through this terrible thing called stress. And stress continues to affect us in many different ways, physically, emotionally, and if we can help each other with the things that we're doing that make life easier and more simple, that would be wonderful. And unfortunately, we get a lot of our stress based on things that we have bottled up inside of us, emotions that hold us back from joy and freedom and abundance and things that we're meant to enjoy in this life. We get kind of tight, and we get held from this perceived perception of what we think might happen because of what has happened. And if we don't deal with what has happened and what we felt in the moment when it did, it's going to continue to creep up in those moments. I know in our initial videos and the initial lessons that I did, I talked a lot about perceived perception and why we feel stressed at times because we're thinking of something that may happen. I gave several examples, and things are sometimes silly. I might have given an example of when they didn't have the milk or the creamer that I wanted at the store, and how that stress response, how silly that was, but it came up, and it wasn't necessarily because of the creamer was out at the store. It was what I was perceiving was going to happen when I didn't have the right creamer. Coffee time would be terrible, Bernie would be frustrated, just silly stuff that I perceived was going to happen based on what's happened in the past. Now that's a very silly example, and there are so many more emotional moments that we go through that cause us to feel something, and then we don't resolve it. We don't really deal with the feeling that we have in the moment, so it creeps up in other situations. And whether it's a silly example of, not having the creamer in the store, or a very big decision that you have to make, and the stress comes because you're not sure it's going to work out, those are unresolved emotions affecting us from getting to our future, getting to the joy and the abundance and the freedom that we deserve. So today, I just want to share a little bit that, we don't have to be stuck in those patterns. Those patterns are based on what we have already experienced and what we perceive. And unfortunately, when we're trying to live in the present time through a filter of the past, we're not going to really see the future very clearly. And that's where we have to change that filter. We have to change the filter. We've talked a lot about really having visualization, and affirming yourself that what you want to see in your life is what you will feel and be, and really taking the time to visualize. And I wanted to say I'm sometimes a better teacher than I am a student. And even though I know this is true, and I know this is important time to spend, I don't know that I'm as good as I should be. And I know that I deal with that unresolved issues as well. And so I teach it so that I can be part of our journey together. And hopefully you can understand how to do these steps in your life to get rid of some of that baggage, some of those patterns that keep holding you back. Hi Ellen, glad you're joining us today. So I want you to go back to some of those episodes, and especially on the visualization, and really understand, how to really feel where you want to be, okay? But I want to share with you 7 steps to getting rid of those unresolved emotions. This is from Deepa Chopra. He shared these 7 steps, and I think there's something to be said. And Stephanie mentioned something. Hey Ellen, glad you're here. Stephanie mentioned a similar strategy that she used this week. So I wanted to, it was very interesting that his 7 steps are very powerful and in line with what she was doing as well. Now remember, we have these conditions and these patterns that we hold on to, things that are in the past that cause that filter on the present. and that filter on the present is stopping us from getting forward. So we want to change that filter. So how do you do that? How do you change the filter of what you're experiencing now, that it's the present filter, not the past filter, that's going to make you react in that situation? Step number 1, take the time to think about and recall the emotion that you feel is unresolved. Now, I can tell you, I have some things from when I was 17 years old. I mean, crazy, that I still creep up in my subconscious, or when I'm feeling a certain way, these thoughts come in my head, my first job and how I dedicated 5 years of life to them and they felt like they didn't need me anymore. I mean, that was crazy. Now, of course, mentally, I know that I had a bigger path, and that if I had gotten tied down working in the restaurant the rest of my years, I wouldn't have become a teacher, I wouldn't have become a principal, I would never have met my husband. I mean, obviously God had a bigger plan, but those thoughts still keep creeping in. So what was the emotion I felt? I don't really think I've dealt with that emotion that I felt in that situation. And I know that we just keep going on and on and on. We're very busy. We keep moving. And sometimes we don't deal with actually what happened. So I still get that filter on the present when something happens from just something silly like that happened so many years ago. So to handle or resolve that emotion, I have to recall it. I have to take the time to really think, and I'll continue on that one example. I still, I don't have a great memory, but I still remember the day where they came to me at the restaurant. I was working the register. I mean, I was the manager at 17. I was doing payroll and everything, and they came and they said they didn't need me anymore. I can still feel that. So how did I feel in that moment? I have to recall the emotion. That's step number 1. Number 2, you have to take that time when you actually recall the emotion to feel what maybe your body felt in that time. We have to kind of go back there. Were you tense? Were you anxious? Were you feeling sad? What were you feeling? What was the body feeling? What were the pain points? Was it just your heart was breaking? Did you feel the welling in your eyes? Whatever physical feeling you were feeling, try to feel what your body was feeling in that moment. Then label that. Was that from the sadness? Was it from the anxiousness? Was it from just anger? Was your body feeling like you wanted to punch someone at the moment when it happened? And was that from anger? Was it from jealousy? Was it from resentment? Label the emotion that you were feeling. Step number 4, express the emotion. And this is where it takes a little more time. Now, it might take 5 to 10 minutes if you really go into your quiet place and work through recalling the emotion, feeling what your body felt, and then labeling it. That's about 5 minutes, but this is going to take a little more time. Step number 4 is really expressing it. And one of the ways that he suggests to do it is to literally write it down. So writing what you experienced in that moment that you're trying to get over, and writing it 3 different times. The first time is just you writing it. Hey, you came up to me at the register and you told me you didn't need me anymore, and I spent 5 years giving you my life, and I can't believe that you did that. And now that I'm saying this, I've never done that, and I feel like that is really powerful. Just feeling me say that is very powerful. So you writing it down, okay? Then the second part of that is to go from another person's point of view. Okay, so maybe someone else that was in the situation with you, what was their point of view of the situation? In my example, maybe it was a customer sitting at the restaurant, or maybe it was somebody there, that I adored and respected so much. Maybe writing it from their point of view and you processing how they were understanding the situation to have happened. And then the third way is to write it from a reporter's point of view. So you're totally from the outside looking into the situation. And I got to tell you, I really, as I'm processing, I wasn't going to use that example today, but now I'm thinking, wow, because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, I'm pissed you fired me. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, this is from another point of view. Someone said, yeah, those bozos, they don't know what they were missing, they don't know what they were losing. And then from a reporter looking in the whole situation, I can process what happened very clearly. And so that really helps to express that emotion that maybe I haven't worked through before. And then after you've done that, you have to share it. And I know this might be hard, because if I go to like Bernie and say what happened 30 years ago and I'm bringing this up, he'll be like, what the heck? Why are you bothering? Get over it, you know, because husbands are like that. They don't really, they want to fix problems. They don't want to deal with the problems. Yes, I'm glad you see that. But you have to find somebody that you trust, whether it's a girlfriend or a friend, and say, you know what, I just want to read this to you. This is something I experienced a way back when, or maybe it was last week. You're trying to get good at getting rid of your emotions. You want to share it with someone and get it off of your chest. It's like giving it to somebody else. And once you share that experience and you tell them what happened, it releases that pressure from you. And then the sixth step is to formally let it go. So all those writings that you did, take them and get rid of them. Burn them, put them in the trash can, have a ceremony, really get rid of them. And number 7, the last step, is to celebrate. Celebrate that you actually released it, that you are in a place that is better than where it would have been, and have a celebration, whether it's a glass of wine or it's a, you know, a treat, or you just, you know, go out for the night, or you just watch your favorite show. Have a celebration that this is now released. I think it's powerful, and I could tell you just from the few minutes expressing my little steps through this one example I had, I could feel where that really can make a big difference. I said I'm sometimes a better teacher than I am a student, so I want to encourage you to even call me on it. Hey, did you spend some time releasing some baggage? Because the baggage that we're holding keeps us stuck in those patterns. They allow us to perceive what we think we are capable of when we're really capable of so much more. So we have to get rid of that baggage, whether it was something somebody said to you, a simple thing that somebody said that keeps coming up every time you try to do something, or how you felt. I want you to use these 7 steps so that you can get rid of that filter that's in your present time, that filter of the past that's blocking you from really seeing your future. So step number 1, recall the emotion that you know is unresolved. Step number 2, feel what your body felt in that moment. Whether it was someone telling you something or something that happened, what did your body feel? Where did it feel it? What were the physical feelings? Number 3, label it. Label that emotion. Were you pissed off? Were you angry? Were you jealous? Were you resentful? Label that emotion. 3 steps leading up to this example that Stephanie shared, and hi Stephanie, is expressing the emotion through writing. So 3 steps of that phase was to 1, just write it from your point of view. Boom, those assholes did this, blah, 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 blah. Step number 2, to actually write it again from another person's point of view that was in the situation, or maybe just an ongoer, just write it from their point of view. Step number 3 is to write it as a reporter, like you're not even connected to the situation. Just going through that little activity will make a huge difference. Then share. Number 5 is share what you've expressed in that writing with someone, whether you're reading it to them or you're just telling them about the process. Share it. That releases it from you. Number 6, formally let it go. And formally means have a ceremony. Get rid of it, burn it, put it in an envelope, mail it to the friggin' person that upset you. Who cares? Just formally let it go. And then celebrate. Celebrate that you are resolving some of those emotions that are holding you back and that you did it. And that's important. Celebrate. Now, I know that that's going to take some time, but if you want to get past if you want to get past your past holding you back from getting to your future, then you need to take the time to do this process. So I hope that's been encouraging. Wonderful. And I'll also put them in the Stress Busters group. I'll list those out for us, Ellen, because I think it's so important. I don't know that I can do it every day, but there are some things. There are some things that I could feel in my body. Just talking about that example today, I know it's unresolved. I didn't even know that was an example. I mean, the thought comes back once in a while. And it came to me while I was talking that was what I was going to do. Exactly. I know, and I was so grateful that you shared that this week, Stephanie, because it does. It makes it, and you are at that step, and that expressing your emotion, that's what you did in that email. And I thought the way he expressed to do it from your point of view, another point of view, and then a reporter's point of view was really powerful. I think that really helps to process what happened in the situation and how much we shouldn't hold on to it. And I think taking it to that next level might even help more so. And then share it, and you shared it with us, and that's what this group is all about. And then formally let it go. Maybe take that email, print it, and then set it on fire. Maybe that would help formally let it go, and then celebrate. So I appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to try this week to pick something that's been holding me back. And those things that come in your mind frequently that keep, like, in the stressful moments that keep popping up could be what you have unresolved. So I'm going to work on that this week, because now I see that that situation that happened to me when I was 17 is still creeping up. It makes me feel probably not good enough or whatever. So I'm gonna work on that this week. If you do take these steps and try something with something you've experienced in the past, I'd love to hear your experience. Share it in the group so we can all benefit. Again, it's a journey with all of us to bust the stress. All right, guys, you guys have a great weekend.